Hello and welcome back to Post Traumatic Revelations. I am your host, Afrah Caraballo. And in today's episode, we are talking about emotional appreciation. The idea of managing our emotions, kind of like we manage our time or our money. Our emotions need attention and intentional management. I remember years ago, I was listening to Susie Orman. She's a financial manager, guru person. But I was listening to her on some talk show. I don't remember which one, but she said something about people manage their relationships the way they manage their money. And I remember really being struck by that. Some this idea that if you're careless or negligent with your love, your emotions, then you're probably negligent with your finances as well. So that if you're generous and intentional in your relationships, then you're probably generous and intentional with your finances, meaning you probably have healthy boundaries, healthy budgeting habits, and of course, the opposite can be true, right? If you are reckless or tend to have sporadic relationships, then your finances are probably not that great. So, this idea has stuck with me over the years. And so, I'm wanting to look at it from a post traumatic point of view, right? That if trauma is an event that is overwhelming to the mind and the body, and it is, right? Then it makes sense that post traumatic stress disorder or anxiety disorder or depressive disorder would include both financial and emotional disorganization in our lives. Now, I'm not a financial expert, so I'll just stick to what I know. And what I know is that every emotion is valid. Every emotion is valid and it needs attention and intentional management. Hence, our topic of today, emotional appreciation. When we appreciate something or someone, the intent is to recognize the value that's there, right? And if you look up the meaning of appreciation, you'll find words like full worth of the thing or fully understanding the situation or grateful for the situation or the event or a rise in price or rise in value. So let's look at emotions a little bit closer and see if we can gain an appreciation and understanding for our feelings. Over the years, I have learned that every emotion is valid. Every emotion is an important message, whether or not you're the sender or the receiver, but every emotion is a message. How we feel lets us know that we care. for everything you experience, there is a thought about it, and there is your feeling about it. So for everything you see, smell, touch, taste, and hear, there is a feeling or an emotion associated with that experience, be it broccoli or ice cream, a burning building or an explosion, car crash or a dog, aftershave or cologne or perfume, holding someone's hand or a kiss, a punch or a hug, a smile or a song, even screeching tires. Every single thing we experience, we have an emotion associated with it. Even if it's indifference that says, I don't care that much. But this is post traumatic revelation. So we are looking at emotions that are associated with people, things, and events that we do care about. We care enough to feel sad, mad, angry. We care enough to love, joy. We care enough to feel hopeful and hopeless, inspired and despair. We care in varying degrees. So sometimes we feel sad, and sometimes we feel just downright depressed. Sometimes we feel happy, other times we are ecstatic and over the moon. And sometimes we can feel scared, worried, anxious, panicked, anger, and rage. If we can appreciate and manage our emotions, we have a better chance of having a, hmm, a higher quality of life. And I pause here because better, happier, richer, more peaceful are all so subjective. And what I mean here is managed, appreciated emotions like managed, appreciated money can lead to flexibility, to planning, to feeling safer, feeling freer, which is about ordered living, right? And the goal is to turn post traumatic stress disorder into post traumatic stress order. We can never undo what was done. We will never change the past, but we can organize and manage and reassign meaning to the wreckage that it left behind. When we appreciate our emotions, when we can value the anger and not fear it, when we can value the sadness and not hide from it, appreciation is about understanding and allowing or giving permission to feel all of our feelings, regardless of whether we think they're good or bad, but acknowledging and validating every single emotion. Our ability to think gives us this opportunity to manage, appreciate, validate, and organize our feelings. This ability to think also means we can invalidate, dismiss, ignore, and avoid. So we get to choose. We can choose order and appreciation, or we can choose chaos and depreciation. Pain is pain, and loss is loss. And the so-called negative emotions that comes with it, like sadness and anger and fear and loneliness, anxiety, depression, rage, despair, helplessness, hopelessness, all of these so-called negative emotions need need validation. They must be acknowledged. They must be attended to. They must be validated and managed and organized. They have value. If we avoid, if we deny, or if we numb out and dismiss these feelings, we cannot, we absolutely cannot appreciate happiness, contentment, joy, excitement, anticipation, love, peace. We can't appreciate friendships and companionships and belonging or bliss or ecstasy because sadness knows exactly where joy belongs, and anger knows exactly where peace belongs, and fear knows exactly where love belongs. So if we don't give ourselves permission, yep, there it is again, permission. If we don't give ourselves permission to feel and receive the messages from our sadness, if we don't receive the messages from loneliness and anger and anxiety, worry, depression, if we don't receive the messages from rage and hopelessness, then we don't have permission. We don't have permission to feel down. We don't have permission to feel less than our best. And if we don't, then how do we get back up? How do we heal? How do we move forward if we don't have permission to hurt and be wounded? If we judge these emotions as bad, how do we get to the good? If we're stuck behind judgment and guilt and shame, how do we get to freedom? I believe that every emotion is a message. And while we may not enjoy every message, it's still information. It's still necessary information to help us manage our lives in ways that can be less painful, less disordered. Emotional appreciation is about valuing all of our emotions. It's about choosing to manage our emotions by intentionally validating every one of them. Validation is about noticing. Noticing, labeling, assigning the source, and then taking action. So, in order to validate an emotion, you first need to ask, how am I feeling? What am I feeling? Is this, how am I doing? Just noticing what you're feeling, right? How am I feeling right now? And then you want to label it. This is sadness. This is excitement. This is anxiety. So often, post traumatically, we can't really tell the difference between anxious and excitement, worried and angry, or sad and disappointed. That part of having post traumatic stress disorder, anxiety disorder, depressive disorder is that our emotions and the meaning we assign to them is disordered, right? And so if we can intentionally notice it and label it and then assign the source, like, okay, I'm sad because this happened, or I'm worried because this might happen, or I'm excited because this is going to happen, or I'm anxious because something's going to happen, or I'm worried and that worry kind of makes me mad that this might happen. So noticing that you're not feeling exactly comfortable and then labeling, what am I feeling? And then assigning the source, like, I'm sad about this thing, or I'm angry about this thing, or I'm mad because of this thing. And then taking action. What can I do about the thing that's making me sad? What can I do about the thing that's making me scared? Or what can I do about the thing that's making me nervous? Can I do this? Can I do anything about the anger? Can I do something to honor and validate and pay respects to the thing that was lost that's making me feel sad? So, looking at what can be done to validate, to acknowledge what emotion is happening for you, right? Can I do this myself? Can I get help? Who can I call? Who would be a resource? Who would be a source of support, right? When we validate, we appreciate. When we appreciate, we increase our self esteem, we increase our sense of self worth, our sense of empowerment, our resilience, our capability. When we take action, even if it's having a conversation with someone, or even if it's taking a walk, or having a meal in someone's honor, or going to visit someone, but when we can name it, validate it, actually connect it to where it's coming from, when we can figure out the cause and then decide what to do about it, we have this sense of self respect, self esteem. We stand a little bit taller. Emotional appreciation is self appreciation, right? And long term appreciation means investing, increased value, improved quality of life. It means managed emotions, like managed money, can safeguard you from future life stressors that will surely come, right? Life is full of the ups and downs and twists and turns and surprises. And when we have a history of trauma, sometimes those curveballs can feel personal and offensive and knock us off track. And so practicing Emotional management is like depositing money into a savings account. So I want to invite you to plan to manage those unpleasant emotions when you're calm and not stressed out. Plan to manage those unpleasant messages before that inbox gets too full. Planning to manage your depression, your anxiety, and your anger when you're calm and receptive. You're actually communicating and planning with the prefrontal cortex of the brain, right? That executive functioning that you're getting ahead of it. So, planning when you're calm, what you're going to do, planning ahead is like paying into your antidepressant or anti anxiety or anti anger insurance policy. It's like depositing patience, depositing management skills, depositing interest into your account before you need it, right? So, planning ahead for potential stressors, planning ahead for potential disappointments can lead to improved personal relationships. It can lead to improved professional relationships. Thinking about how you'll react, who you can call, who will be a source of support and encouragement, and who's not, right? Like in that calm place, you can decide these are the people who are assets. These are the people who are potential liabilities, right? Assets are those people who are helpful, proactive. They can help calm you down. They can help you problem solve. They can keep you out of trouble. Liabilities, they're at the other end of it. They're the ones egging you on and you potentially get in trouble. And so from that calm place, you can make those executive decisions. You can make those decisions to invest in emotional management, invest in emotional appreciation ahead of time. So, emotional appreciation, it's an ongoing project. It's an ongoing work, right? For as long as we're alive, there are going to be stressors. There are going to be things to celebrate and things to mourn. There are going to be pleasant surprises and disappointments. So, longer you practice, the more you practice, the better you get at it, right? The more you invest, the greater the appreciation, right? The greater your quality of life, the more flexibility you have when those crises come up because you've been practicing, you've been investing. And so, thank you. Thank you again so much for your time, your attention, and your permission. And again, I wish you love, peace, and healing. And until next time, be well.